$38 million, and the attorney says they have proof and records as well as data to prove just how bad the problem is. Neighbors on this street tell me this is what their trash looks like all the time. They say sometimes it takes 3 weeks before the trash is picked up. Witnesses say they came out here to the parking lot, and this is where they saw a woman's body. It was lying right here in the parking lot. As you mentioned, they say the children witnessed everything. A man says he went right here to this driveway and got help from a neighbor. One of the most chaotic scenes I have seen in several years. I'm going to step out of the shot just so you can see what's going on. Right now, officers are patrolling this area. Dozens of squad cars are out here. Tennessee State Representative G.A. Hardaway from Memphis is urging local, state, and federal leaders to commit more resources to help victims struggling to leave abusive relationships. As simple as saving 1 penny a day and placing them into a piggy bank similar to this one.
The fall freshness, Siobhan. I know you're looking for another opportunity to wear your boots.
Yeah, got to spice up the wardrobe a little.
That's going to be a good day for that.
But what do you say to these people who have issues with the stores? I mean, you guys continue to have issues, you have rodents, and you can't say anything.
I'm not in a position.
And then there's some cars that didn't even try to move. This is a good example right here. This car over here, I guarantee you if this car tried to move, it'd likely get stuck too, just like the other ones did in this area, because you can see all of this pile up right here. Daryl, and several families who I spoke with today, they are calling that man the true hero tonight. And here is why, because when you take a look at this apartment complex, it is hard to believe that people made it out alive. Firefighters say a few people were hurt. One woman had second-degree burns to her face, hands, and shoulder. Justin Greer was brought to tears after talking about the Autumn Ridge apartment fire in Hickory Hill that left dozens of families homeless and some tenants seriously hurt.
I play it through my mind all day long. Yeah, that's hard too. I haven't been asleep since.
This video circulating like wildfire on social media shows units engulfed in flames. Greer says he was playing his PlayStation when he heard a loud scream.
I heard it again for a second time, so I paused the game and I get up, and by that time my mom's running to the back and she's like, "Justin, these people's house is on fire, they need help." So I threw my jacket on, same jacket I'm wearing now, and I started climbing the building.
All the way to the 3rd floor.
The lady started getting me the kids, she started handing me the kids, and they just kept coming. So I'm passing them down to everybody on the ground and getting them out.
Greer started knocking on other doors. This time, the Good Samaritan noticed an elderly woman begging for help.
When she was on the 3rd floor, I climbed up to the 2nd level. By the time I got to the 2nd level, that's when she started jumping. I could see her, and I caught her on the 2nd level. I'm holding on to it. And my finger, I guess the plastic, whatever, had already melted. And my finger was just like hanging on it. So I was holding her, and she went and jumped. And we just fell back, and I fell on my back.
Hundreds of people took to social media, thanking Greer for his quick thinking that saved dozens of lives. I told him they're calling him a hero.
That's a big title to hold. I mean, I don't feel like a hero. I was just doing what God told me to do.
And that man's mother is still in the hospital. And even though their home did not catch on fire, he says that he did have to perform CPR on his mother because he believes that the shock and the stress from the fire caused her to pass out. But again, there are still pieces of debris all over the ground, right? Debris just like this. But as far as the cause of the fire, that is still under investigation tonight. And as far as where that fire started, they are still looking into that as well. Reporting live in Hickory Hill, Siobhan Riley, Fox 13 News. Home Depot, Walmart, Kohl's, Dillard's, Family Dollar, and Gordman's have more in common than weekly sales.
Find everything all right, sir?
Like this Cordova Home Depot, they are all being hit with organized retail crimes, or ORC, specifically snatch and grab.
It affects everyone. I think even our taxpayers, because at the end of the day, you know, taxes go up because of these things.
Investigators say the criminals already know what they're going to take before even stepping foot inside the store. Once they grab the items, they're out of the store within minutes.
I found out the same group of thieves hit at least 6 Home Depot stores more than 20 times between May and August of last year in Memphis.
It was an incident where we had, someone come in and, walk out with a blower.
Memphis police arrested this man back in March. 19-year-old McCain Haynes is accused of stealing $16,000 worth of merchandise. I went to his home to ask about the accusations.
That's her guy.
Danny Sweeney says the suspect, McCain Haynes, is the father of his great-grandchild.
They said he stole $16,000 worth of merchandise.
I have no idea. I know he didn't bring any of it here.
Sweeney says Haynes was at work the time we stopped by the Parkway Village home, but Haynes returned my phone call saying he had no comment. The problem is so prevalent that stores hired special investigators to track the criminals.
So I would say this is one of the main aisles that our subjects tend to focus on more.
John Goodman is an organized retail crime investigator for the Home Depot. On average, he works about 8 to 15 cases a week in parts of the Southeast region.
It's a full-blown operation. A lot of the major fencing operations that we go after will hire 15 to 20 boosters at a time. Boosters also meaning thieves to go into our stores. And just, again, not our stores, but all retailers.
Who's committing these crimes?
Same subjects who are committing your violent crimes, armed robberies, burglaries, even to severe enough as your murders.
In South Haven, Mississippi, there are at least 4 known groups responsible for organized crimes, and some of the criminals have Tennessee tags and Memphis addresses.
Our mall officers are able to identify them by appearance, so we don't give chase because it's more dangerous these days to do that, but we can go back and get warrants for them.
Mark Little with the South Haven Police Department says these organized crimes are taking away from some of their resources, but a new law is helping. Under the 2017 Mississippi ORC law, convicted organized shoplifters face up to 20 years in prison or a $25,000 fine or both.
Getting these people, these subjects off our streets through the ORC cases is a lot easier avenue than going after them when they commit an armed robbery.
17-year-old Tupac Mosley received more than 50 scholarships, and during his high school graduation yesterday, he got a chance to tell students during his speech that nothing is impossible. Raleigh Egypt High School graduate Tupac Mosley says his goal was to receive $1 million in college scholarships. The high school valedictorian says he was shocked after surpassing his goal and getting accepted into more than 40 colleges.
When I heard that I got $3 million, I was more than elated.
I caught up with the high school graduate while he was cleaning out the cabin he's living in. He's preparing to move into a permanent home after becoming homeless.
After my father passed, we fell behind on bills, and we ended up getting evicted from our home February 21st of this year. So we've been to a different homes so far, and we were blessed to have For the Kingdom.
For the Kingdom is a camping site and nonprofit that helps lead urban children and teens in Memphis in the right direction. Mosley says if it wasn't for the director allowing he and his family to stay here, college may have not been an option. What was the biggest challenge when you went through all of that?
I would definitely say the time management, because this is still doing like the most stressful part of my senior year, doing essays.
The student managed to keep a 4.3 GPA. On Sunday, during his graduation speech, he thanked his principal and teachers for believing in him.
Everything that you poured into me was worth $3 million and counting.
What would you say to people who counted you out?
Never let your current situation, whatever circumstances you're going through, be a mountain that you can't climb.
I just spoke with his administrators here at Raleigh Egypt High School less than 30 minutes ago, and they tell me that Mosley always manages to stay positive and keep a smile on his face. He is going to Tennessee State University in the fall, and he will major in electrical engineering. And you're probably wondering what happens to all of that money. He does not get to keep it all, only for some of the private scholarships that he received, and of course for the college that he is going to attend. Live in Raleigh, Siobhan Riley, Fox 13 News. Good morning, Memphis. I'm Siobhan Riley. It is approaching 7:30 this Saturday morning, a chilly Saturday morning at that. This morning, President Trump is in the hospital where he will spend the next few days. It's a move the White House made out of an abundance of caution after he tested positive for coronavirus. To your left is Walter Reed National Military Medical Center. That is where the president will quarantine. To your right is the White House, where First Lady Melania Trump is recovering. The president's doctor says the president is fatigued. Sources say that he also has a fever and was, quote, spooked by his diagnosis. Camilla Burnell explains.
Everybody for the tremendous support.
For months, the White House has used rapid tests to help limit the president's possible exposure to coronavirus. Last week, the Trump administration announced it will send millions of rapid tests to states to help get students and teachers back to school. But with the top aide and the First Lady testing positive, there are now questions about how well do they work. The downside to the test is the results are not always reliable. That means you could be infected with the virus and still get negative results. Health experts attribute the spike in COVID cases among young people to schools reopening. Some students have the option to return to the University of Memphis on Monday. The coronavirus has led to so many issues. It's even making it harder for victims of domestic violence to get the help they desperately need.
The person beating you, constantly beating you, constantly, you get tired.
An emotional cry for help. And as you can see, we disguised her voice and are not showing her face to protect her identity. I spoke exclusively with that woman who is urging victims to leave before it is too late. Tennessee State Representative G.A. Hardaway from Memphis is urging local, state, and federal leaders to commit more resources to help victims struggling to leave abusive relationships, especially during this pandemic when domestic violence cases are on the rise. October marks the start of flu season, but this year won't be typical considering that we're still fighting the COVID-19 pandemic, which brings up the question of how much dangerous of the flu season could we have? Fox 13's Jonathan Marshall spoke with a doctor from Baptist Memorial, and he says the flu and COVID, they are making things quite an interesting combination. The doctor you just heard from did have a very positive take on things. He says we've never been more cautious when it comes to washing our hands and wearing face coverings. Still, he says, all we need to do is get those flu shots as he just spoke about. And starting Monday, the Shelby County Health Department will offer flu shots. Visit our website, fox13memphis.com, to find out where you can get those flu shots. New details this morning. The job report certainly played a role in the market recovery. More than 660,000 jobs were added to the U.S. economy in September. A local nonprofit receives a huge honor. What this award means for youth villages and the city of Memphis. But first, a Germantown man says he recovered from COVID-19 at the age of 62. We share his amazing journey and the message to those who don't take this virus seriously. Fox 13's Good Morning Memphis is back live right after this.